Hey, what's up? It's Rashad Antonio, back fresh from Vegas. You know what I'm saying? We are the Upon Further Review. Sinners 2.0. Tony was like, hey, I know you and not. Shout out to Nadia.
Shout out to Nadia,
Little
yo.
cousin, man. She came through and
Yeah.
really had some great points that I wasn't even thinking about. And she really
hmm
has some good concepts and ideas about the movie, and we appreciate her for stepping up and stepping in. But Tony
Yes.
said, "Look, y'all, South got something to say." And like
South
he
got something
Andre
to
3K back in '94, you know what
say.
I'm saying, with the Sosa Awards. So yeah, so we gonna so hey, and I am down to talk about this movie again
hmm
and again with anybody who is willing to listen to me rant about it. And now I will give the floor. Oh yeah, all spoilers, of course.
Oh yeah.
This
Yeah.
movie been out for 2 weeks now. If you haven't seen it
Yeah.
yet, then shame on you.
Shame
Oh,
on
but
you.
yo, tell me why.
hmm
I just saw it on Threads. Right, this movie
Uh-huh.
is tracking
I saw it.
to have a
Uh-huh.
10% drop, and
hmm
it may do better than the first week.
Yeah. That
If that
is
happens,
that is
that is the most
diabolical.
unprecedented thing in
hmm
movie theaters ever. That would be the first time ever
Uh-huh. A
in the
10%
world.
a 10% drop.
10%
And
drop is unprecedented,
yeah.
but a potential do better than the first week,
hmm
that is word of mouth and repeat customers.
Yes.
The funny thing is, like, 3 weeks in, and it's going up against Thunderbolts, it may only have like a 40% drop.
hmm
That is amazing.
And the repeat customers thing is a real thing.
Yo,
For
I've seen
example,
I've seen the movie twice. I've seen it 3 times. I saw somebody else seen the movie 4 times already.
yeah,
Damn.
our at my job, the entertainment reporter, my guy, shout out Kevin.
Kev.
He was like, he was going to see it for his fourth time this week when I saw, what I'm saying, I got back
Kevin
from,
is
I
a
got,
is a very white man. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
I got back. Listen, I got back from Vegas on Monday night, and Tuesday I said, all right. I need a day just to get my stuff together. I was gonna try to go, but I said I need a day to get my stuff together. Wednesday was my first day back to work, trying to get acclimated back to I'm on the East Coast. We on the East Coast, by the way. With Vegas, West Coast. I had to get that. I was like, I drove right by the theater. Yo said, F this movie. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. I said, I'll try to do it tomorrow. And so what I did was on Thursday morning when I woke up, when I woke up, I actually bought my ticket, which is going to make me go regardless to the movie.
like,
And
be accountable to yourself.
right, accountability for myself. So I got my ticket to go to the IMAX theater over here where I'm at. Got off work, drove the 25 minutes to the theater, got there right when like the last two
Trailers were showing.
trailers were showing or whatever. And then it started and was just I'm just going to say, man, I was blown away by this movie. I had a coworker, she saw it last week. She saw it yesterday in IMAX at the you got to get up here, Rashad, one day and
I know.
go to the Smithsonian. She went to the Uvad Hoozy. That's why I'm gonna probably go next time to go see it. She went to the Uvad Hoozy to see it. She didn't give a because she didn't see it the first time in IMAX. She didn't really give a great review of. I was like, hmm. First of all, I don't want people to think two things. This movie, who haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, shame on you. This movie, number one, is more than just a horror movie. This movie, number two, is more than just a vampire movie. This movie, number three, it is a very black movie, but it's more than just a black movie. It is a very cultural, diverse movie. And it's something that is something, especially in this America, that you can look at and see, kind of where we were going with this in Ryan Coogler. I think me and Rashad have made it perfectly clear who our favorite director is of this generation. You can go ahead and say his name, Rashad.
It's one Christopher Nolan.
One, Christopher Nolan. Shout out to Christopher Nolan actually had, I don't want, I'm gonna say help, but I don't want y'all to think he was anything to part with this movie, but helped Ryan Coogler with this movie as far as using the IMAX with the different film millimeters, you know?
Hmm.
And when I saw that, I said, oh, I felt like that Farrakhan meme when he's just like, I felt like that, man, for real. The fact that Nolan and his wife actually helped because they're basically for all intents and purposes the masters of, shooting movies in that way. And the fact that, Ryan Coogler, you know what I'm saying, they respect Ryan Coogler enough because you got to be movie directors are very arrogant and they are very, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not very to give up their ideas. They're not
Yeah,
very
yeah.
forthcoming
Very
to give up,
selfish.
they're selfish to keep their stuff. But for him to respect Ryan Coogler and what he's done to be like, all right, I'm gonna help you out with this, whatever, I think is also a great thing. Oh my God. So when man, Rashad, I really, oh my God, like
I know how you feel, yo. Gather
it's
your
just
thoughts,
like
man.
I was watching.
Didn't even ask you some questions.
I no, dude, if you want to, yeah,
I'm good.
man,
I'm just messing with you.
you can act like how everything was just done with this movie. Right now, I don't know about you, Rashad. My favorite movie so far this year,
By far.
by far, my favorite movie so far this year, and I wasn't expecting it to be that. You know what I'm saying? I expected it to be a good movie, but not see, but not get what we got. And the fact that Ryan Coogler did his research and, he added vampire lore and it was kind of more, and he used a lot of your traditional, vampire lore in this as far as let's I just want to get that part out the way because to me that's like so secondary with the vampire stuff. The fact that you have these vampires, in order for them to come into your home, you have to invite them. There are so many movies about this. Like for me, the very first movie I remember as a kid where that was a thing, Rashad note, The Lost Boys with Kiefer Sutherland. With Kiefer Sutherland, and you find out the end, he was like, "Man, you invited him into your house," type thing. You're like, "Oh snap!" So you
That
have to,
joint scarred me too.
yeah, like you have to be invited, and you have to invite them into your house in order for that to happen. Also, too, you know, um, they changed some lore to where no, it was the same lore where everyone always thought the lore is, oh, you got to bite them on the neck and suck their blood for so long, and then if they change somebody, then you got to give them some of your blood. Oh, one bite, and you take go one bite, and you a vampire, man, and I mean it. Of course, the whole allergic to garlic, silver, wooden stake in the heart are ways to, kill them. Also, the transference of memories. Once you bite that person, everybody basically gets those people memories of whatever. So I just wanted to get that, completely out the way. I also love the fact that, you know, Malik, the vampire, he's a couple of hundred years old.
Remick.
Remick, yes, and Malik, Lord. Remick is a couple of hundreds years old or whatever. You can pretty much tell because he has the very thick Irish accent when he does this, when he's doing this. And on top of, what I'm saying, on top of that, he talks about how we all know the Irish were, for all intents and purposes, were the black people of Europe, because the British ran them out of their country, tried to, what I'm saying, enslave them and all this stuff. You had prima nocta, which was a big thing, which is wild as yeah, you ain't think I would bring that up, did you, in this podcast? It was a big thing. And they basically was, almost wiped out until they revolted and fought back the British, and he brings that up, you know, in in this whole story. Also, too, it brings up to how and the vampire culture that we've seen. Vampires don't care what your race are. If you're a vampire, you're a Mickey Ficky vampire or whatever. So I just want to get, what I'm saying, that part of it out the way. And I thought that was great. I love the prologue, the monologue in the beginning, where Annie was explaining how, and this is where I say this was more than just, was it a black film? Yes, yes, but also it was a cultural film. How each culture has the same stories, like in the Irish folk tales of people who could play the music, and music was a doorway into the other world and stuff like that. And then you had people who fought off the spirits and stuff like that. You had the Native American tribe. I forget the name of it. Off
Choctaw.
The Choctaw tribe. By the way, for those of y'all that watch us do a thing, the Choctaw tribe is the same tribe that was in Echo. That
It
Echo.
was.
That's what I'm here for, Rashad.
It was. I
Same
forgot all about that.
same
Yeah,
tribe from
yeah, yeah.
Echo. That tribe, and by the way, that is a real tribe, and they do inhabit that part of the U.S. That
And then also you got to
Mississippi,
remember too, they were driven where?
right?
West.
Driven west into the that New Orleans, Arkansas, Mississippi. You know what
And
I'm
then
saying?
further west, it's
It's
because Echo was like Oklahoma.
Oklahoma,
Yeah, and
right?
they would
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like the little scribe, the drawings of them, and then of course in the African diaspora over there, the African diaspora is very into the spiritual, you know what I'm saying, into spiritual meanings and music, and it also we bring it along Christianity, where we've always heard what I'm saying, we know if you consider yourself to be a Christian about Lucifer was what I'm saying, was the number one angel of music and all that before he was thrown down to, so, we was always told that music is the doorway. Think about it with, some of your parents, some of our parents, or if you're a little younger than us, your grandparents, we're told when they were trying to listen to rock and roll and blues, that's the devil's music or whatever. It was believed that if you played the records backwards, it was messages from Satan and stuff like that. And like
And,
nobody was
and
trying.
and then you had the Devil's Chord, which was like
Yeah.
that like minor seventh or something like that.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
the minor seventh. Also, the guitar was always looked at as the instrument of the devil. You know what I'm saying? The devil and stuff like this. Like this is history stuff that we like for real. The guitar didn't really become cool in pop culture until like what the 60s, 70s for real,
Yeah,
because the guitar first started off being played by women. You know what I'm saying? Women playing it and
very
stuff,
true.
women and stuff like that playing it. And then, what, especially in the black, what I'm saying, with black community, with slaves and everything, they started teaching some of it to some of the house slaves. And that's when you had like, that's where the blues came along mixed in with the folk tales of the songs and everything like that. And I love what Delta Slim said in one of the things where he was like, hey, white people like the music. They just don't like the people
It's
that's
playing it.
playing the music.
Yeah.
And that goes to show, and that brings up gentrification as well into this. Think about it like this, man. Like the only the for me, I don't know how you feel, Rashad. I feel the only three original American forms of music are the blues, jazz, and hip hop.
And rock and roll.
And rock, and fourth would be rock and roll. And all four,
So black. Like
yeah, I
they're
started.
all just derivatives
Uh-huh.
of that one thing. And even if you go just a tad bit further back,
Mm-hmm.
all of those are derivatives of that of like basically enslaved peoples,
Mm-hmm.
gospel,
Mm-hmm.
and their chants, which goes
Mm-hmm.
back even further in this us, what I'm saying, call and response and back to
Mm-hmm.
Africa. Like you
Yep.
can't that direct lineage musically, it's
Mm-hmm.
so clear. Like it's right there. So, but yeah, but those
And,
four,
and what instrument, Rashad, is probably the most prevalent in all of them?
there's a guitar somewhere.
And but no, you know what the most prevalent
Oh,
one
the
is?
drums, definitely
This is the
drums.
drums, and that
Yeah,
goes all the way
yeah,
back
yeah.
to, what I'm saying, African culture. So you, like I said, we here to teach y'all along with reviewing this
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
man.
like that's yeah. Those are all great points.
You know,
I
so
wasn't think about again. I was just thinking about the script and the movie. I wasn't think about none of that stuff. Like, yeah,
yeah,
but now
yeah.
that's true though because the music is like the foundation
Mm-hmm.
of of the movie, and I think the
Mm-hmm.
most fun part of the movie to me was the getting the band together montage.
Mm-hmm.
So we see how we got um,
Sammy.
Sammy, we
Mm-hmm.
got
Deltas.
Delta.
Mm-hmm.
They found a piano player somewhere. You know what I'm
Per
saying? What you call
per
this?
Pearlie.
Pearlie
Mm-hmm.
just ran. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Get him.
Pearline randomly shows up and she can sing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
that whole part of it to me is like, oh man, this is so dope because we rarely see that happen like in these movies. Like
You, you know what I'm gonna
almost
say,
like
Rashawn?
almost like the Blues Brothers. You know what I'm saying? They had to
Yeah.
get a band together.
Very great movie, by the way.
Awesome movie, yo.
Very. You know what I'm gonna say, Rashawn?
What's that?
This movie is almost a musical.
It's
Almost.
yo, like the thing that separates this from being a musical is
Hmm.
we're not like every scene isn't like, oh, like what's going on, I'm gonna sing about what's going on.
Right,
And
right,
and
right.
if
That's what make a musical is that
because
the scenes are being sung out of what's going on.
yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. It's a set of dialogue,
Uh-huh.
it's through song. And if
Yeah.
that was the case, I would have walked out. But yeah,
Yeah,
that didn't
yeah.
happen. This was just this was a story about people that were
Hmm.
musically inclined,
Yes.
and music just is so interwoven in the in the Black American culture and in
Yes.
greater American culture. Like
Yes.
if you can't separate us from music, like it
Yeah.
wouldn't there again. This is another one of those things. I'm glad you're on this. This is another one of those things where if there were no black people in America, America would be trash. America would be Europe
Boiled
West.
boiled chicken, no
Yeah, it
seasoning.
would be you might as well call it Europa
Europa.
or like
You
Brits
yeah.
Britland. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because ain't
You're
no ain't
Erica.
no
That's what it's. You're Erica.
ain't
That's
no
what it is.
flavor without you know what I'm saying
Yeah.
without us. I'm just
Yeah.
being like let's just be for real.
I,
Like I
I,
can't say any more plainer than that. Aside
yeah.
from boiled chicken, that's pretty plain
Yeah.
too.
And I mean, like I was saying, it's like this, it dealt with too with the music in this country, the gentrification of it. Like we started country. And now you got country singers pissed off
I'm just
That
saying,
Beyonce
man.
knows Carter made a country album.
I'm
You know
I'm
what I'm
just
saying?
I'm
How
just
many
saying.
times Little Richard and oh my God, what's my other guy name? I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head. They invented rock and roll, basically. Little Richard, I invented rock and roll. I created, you know what I'm saying? Little Richard, my man that, the video with him and John Legend doing it, John Legend crazy ass wife started doing them chants and
Oh,
he
you talking
looked,
dude that has on guitar.
yeah,
I
God,
know
I
I know
can't.
you're talking about. I can't think of his name
Yeah,
right now.
Chuck Berry, Little
Yeah,
Richard, Chuck Berry. These guys like basically are the godfathers, the founders of rock and roll. Then of course the blues, Bo Diddley, and all these cats like that. And what ended up happening is, and this is not, I'm not trying to make this a racial rant or anything like that, but it is what it is that this country, saying black people have created so much, and then you've have other people taking it and claim it as their own. And then when a black person kind of goes back to doing that stuff, you like, well, wait, hold the damn minute. What your black ass doing this right here? This ain't y'all music. No, this is our music. I mean, look at even in hip hop, you got stuff going on. Like I will say I think he's a great MC, but you got people saying that Eminem's the greatest MC of all time. I can't do it. I know he's up there. He's the top 10, but to say he's the greatest, that's just
no, 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 no. Thank you. Back to the movie.
yeah. Back to the movie. I'm sorry, I got off. I
Nah, it's
got
all
off.
good. That was a
You know,
good
you,
rant.
you know, we music people, we
Yeah,
could get
yeah,
off
yeah. We
that
could.
real
This could be
quick.
the whole pod. What do you think about Michael B. Jones' performance?
I think Michael B. Jordan did an awesome job. I'm going to be disappointed if at the minimum he's not nominated for an Oscar. And this is why I think he did an awesome job.
If you want to hear the rest of this pod, as well as much more else, be sure to join the site. Go over to theuponfurtherreview.com, where we have exclusive content, exclusive podcasts only for our members. You guys get stuff early, and we're only asking for a low price, $10 a month, get you all access to all the exclusive stuff.